No, go now.
Even Fuzzy Bears don't do that.
Hello, my name is Thomas McCarthy. I will be explaining doing justice punishment assignment 2. There is one main act that deals with all the different sentencing guidelines in the United Kingdom, which is the Powers of Criminal Court Act 2000. There are a few issues such as having very expensive trials and sentences for prison, as well as outdated procedures. As well, there is a big issue with the public wanting harsher punishment for certain criminals on trial. There must be enough evidence and justification, and sometimes criminals get away with it or get a lesser sentence than they are deserved. And because of that, it can dishearten the public to trust the justice system. And because of lots of things that are wrong with this act, it has made other things go wrong, such as the serious assault that happens in prisons to other inmates. Fair to send criminals who have done minor crimes to the... Is it fair to send criminals who have done minor crimes to these prisons? As well, there are other things that have gone wrong in recent years, such as self-harm and self-inflicted deaths in prison. And it's stated overcrowding makes serious problems for inmates and employees in prisons. And the problem with the prisons being overcrowded as well as these problems are that they have to let offenders go on early release, as they have to make space for new offenders. These offenders have only served some of their time in prison. There have been a few problems with legislation that is used to sentence criminals, as there have been lots of cases in the public eye where serious criminals get reduced sentences or get off. The severity of the sentence is about if the punishment fits the crime. And the judiciary have stated that. Even though they say this, there have been lots of cases where it isn't true. This is true with Carl Reed's case, where he committed a serious act of violence on his wife, where he stabbed her and beat her with an iron, and he was only got a £2,000 fine and was let off for performing didn't get community service because he was a busy guy.
What was the name?
Carl Reed.
Carl Reed.
So he beat his wife, what was it? He stabbed his wife when he came home because she didn't make his sandwiches for the next day's work, and then he branded her with an iron because she didn't iron his shirts for the next day of work, and he only got a £2,000 fine. What looked to the public like he got a light sentence, and people weren't happy that he got away with that. How could he do that to his wife and get away with that? And could men think that they could get away with domestic violence and get a minor fine for punishment? This punishment given was due to legislation. If legislation isn't helping people it was intended to, it needs to change. There are 5 main purposes when it comes to punishment and criminals, what they need. And this is stated as being retribution, incarceration, deterrence, rehabilitation, and restoration. And if they don't add this, it doesn't work. First purpose that is believed is retribution, and this is where the criminal deserves their punishment, and it should have the same weight as the crime that was committed. People also believe that is, if you commit murder, you should have life in prison for the life that you have taken and all the other lives that have been damaged around that person. Then you have incarceration. This is the term for being straight, so being in jail, and this is a punishment for convicted criminals for committing a crime that deserves to be put in prison. The succeeding purpose is deterrence, and this principle is where the government thinks of sending a person to jail that they won't commit a crime afterwards. And there's 2 different types of deterrence. There is a public deterrence, general commitment, so it stops, so it's for the public, general deterrence is for the public to stop the public wanting to commit a crime, and the public, the specific is for a specific criminal to stop them reoffending after prison. Then you have rehabilitation, and this is the belief that you can change the behaviour of the criminal while in prison with classes and getting them qualifications so they can get a job, so they're more likely to get a job when they come out of prison. This plan is good because it allows prisoners to gain qualifications to get jobs when they leave. This is important because they have found that reoffending criminals don't have a job or don't have anything to do. Last principle of punishment is the UK restoration, and this is the belief that you should be financially punished for the crime that you have committed by paying a fine. And this can be for damages of property or for hospital bills as well. There have been big problems in this country with people not trusting the government and the criminal justice system for lots of different reasons. They did the study in 2007 when they found out that only 37% thought that CGS is effective, and that would mean the majority of people don't think it's effective, and this is due to a corresponding survey that have found that people think that the CGS is too lenient on criminals. The other category that is used in this chart, which shows 58% thought that the CGS was fair. From 2007, the public's trust has improved. This is due to lots of different reasons. One of them is that, as been stated, longer sentences for crimes, one reason why the justice system is more effective. And because of this, the trust has gone up in, as you can see. There have been cases that have made the public distrust the CGS and the police in the past. And some of these reasons why the public didn't trust either very well. This is because of cases like Mark Duggan, where he was shot and killed by the police, and that event sparked the London riots in 2011. And this case was all over the media and showed the police in an extremely bad light. The National Audit Office runs the different costs that these different services have spent money on, and they work out the ways that these services can save money so that they are not spending it on things that should be accounted for. The National Audit Office have found that there are lots of different ways that they can save money in cases and trials, and comes to tens of millions of pounds. That has been wasted, and over time that comes to be a lot of money. The different aspects that they could have saved money on is extending trials in Crown Court, what has cost them £44 million. These funds could be used to help in other ways, such as prison reform and rehabilitation, what could keep the costs down by keeping criminals out of prison. However, there has been 11% and fewer trials held in England and Wales.
Does it surprise you how much it costs?
Yeah, it does.
It's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll put it down.
Nice one. Thank you very much.